Welcome to the Battle Systems tutorial video for the command room chair. Okay, so that's this little chair here from the command room pack, or to go with the consoles. This has got no bolsters or anything like that, but it is kind of quite complicated purely because it's very, very small, and it's quite difficult to get these folds and the scores in. So it's a fiddly one, but there we go. Let's put it together anyway. Just grab the bits and pieces. As always, I've pre-cut this and scored it all out, etc. Okay, so again, you need to look for the instruction sheet for exactly, you know, which area needs to be sort of overscored and underscored, and so on and so forth. So this is all pre-done. First thing I'm going to do is basically just sort of fold this to shape. So I start with the base, and I'm just going to pop this bit together. Okay, so that's that first little bit just roughly folded to shape. I'll glue that in a moment. Now I just need to fold the chair. I just forgot to score these little side bits. Now this very top part here is actually going to be rounded, so we need to kind of just round this off with our fingers. Can be quite tricky to do. I've got long nails here, or the ginger claw as my web designer calls it. Okay, so now around these arms I have pre-scored these, but some of these scores I may need to kind of just very carefully go over again, because these areas are so small. You need to score them just that little bit further, and sometimes you got to be careful you don't cut all the way through it. But we'll see how we go with this one. You can kind of see the chair shape there. Now, because this is so small, there's no bolsters, there's not really anything to glue onto, so it's kind of difficult. You're actually just gluing it to itself. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to very carefully put some glue in between here to hold the main seat part in place, and then all you're actually doing from that point onwards is actually just edge gluing around these parts to get each of the arms together. So you edge glue an arm. So I put the seat in first by gluing between here. I then edge glue an arm together, edge glue an arm together, and then once I've done that, it's just a case of actually lifting the seat up and edge gluing that bit onto here, like so. Don't know how clear that is. Just gluing that bit onto there is the last bit we're going to do, and that'll hold the chair together, and then we'll just drop it onto its base. So I'm going to start by gluing this back piece. So that's the back piece done together. I'm now going to edge glue each one of these arms. Now once you've got one of these arms sort of edge glued together, it's a good idea to just kind of hold it in place for quite some time, because it's quite small. It's actually got, it takes quite a lot of tension to hold it in place. That's why it's also good to make sure that you score these quite deeply, obviously not all the way through, but quite deeply, so there's not too much resistance. one's being quite stubborn. I think I'm going to need to drop some more glue inside. What I might try and do is glue the other side while I'm holding this one. This side I think is finally just about stuck. This one not so much. Okay, so that's those bits done and in place. It took a long time for me to secure them, but they're okay. So the next thing I'm going to do, well, I'll try not to touch these, is just going to glue this bit down on the top here. I'm also going to glue this onto the base. Okay, the same as these now. I'm going to hold this bit for a little bit of time to help it set. Next thing is to glue this onto here. You can use a little bolster in there if you want to give that a bit of extra strength. Putting that onto there. I haven't on any of mine. I'm just going to edge glue straight onto the card itself. Okay, so that's the base on. These have dried a bit better. All I'm going to do now is just lift and glue this into place. Now, in order to do this, I'm going to kind of over bend it a bit, just so that it stays in place under its own sort of steam as it was. I'll do the same with the chair back as well. That's it. So it's just a case of tacking it in place by edge gluing there. Okay, so that's in place now. Just got to pop this on here. So I'm going to edge glue this. And there it is. There's your command room chair. Now with these, ultimately you do get some sort of splodges of glue because they are super fiddly and there's no bolsters to glue them to. It doesn't really notice, you know, especially considering the size of these anyway. So yeah, that's all good. Thanks for watching the tutorial for the command room chair. On to the next tutorial video, and happy gaming.